So welcome friends, what if Naruto became Ninja Alchemist, Naruto x Winry R movie. It was just another regular day in the village hidden in the leaf. People were going about doing their business, ninjas were going on missions, and students were heading to the academy. In a section of Konoha where most of the rundown buildings were located, at a young blonde-hair, blue-eye boy wearing a kill-me orange jumpsuit named Uzumaki Naruto was all giddy. Why? Because today was the day that he would be allowed to take the graduation exam for the second time. The first time he was set to take it, he was forced to stay in the bathroom all day due to him drinking spoiled milk. But now in his mind there was no chance in hell that he would miss the exam, for he made the decision to eat out today at his favorite restaurant. Naruto left the room with a smile and was about to make his way to eat, but as soon as he got out of his apartment building he saw a sight that made him freeze in his step. Standing there waiting for him, cruel smirks adorning their faces, were a group of villagers. Along with them were shinobi. Well, look at what we have here, boys, a little fox trying to be a ninja. We can't have that, now can we? One of the villagers said. Why don't we show this little demon what we do with his kind boys? The group all grinned like a child in a candy store. Naruto was petrified. He didn't know what to do. All he knew was that he was in trouble and there was no one around to help him. Then just as he was about to try and get away, he felt something or someone hit him in the back of his neck, knocking him out. The group then proceeded to pick the boy up and carry him away to a place where no one would ever find him. However, what none of them saw, up in the roof of a building stood a masked person. Somewhere else in another world, years earlier, standing in front of a massive gate was a blonde-haired boy who looked around the age of 15 or 16. Next to him was a giant suit of armor. All around them stood different people whom were also staring at the gate. These were the alchemists who were revolting against the Führer due to his horrible plans he had for the future of his country. But at the head of them all was Edward Elric, the Full Metal Alchemist, the youngest member of the military. Next to him was his brother Alphonse. Well brother, are you sure about this? Asked the brother stuck in the suit. Edward didn't say a word at first. All he did was just stared at the gate, knowing that once he did this then all the problems would be over. Yeah, let's do this, Edward said to his brother as he began to walk toward the gate. Before he entered though, he gazed one last time at his childhood friend who stood among the group in the back along with her grandmother giving her a smile. He entered the gate. Edward soon found himself in a pure white room. His brother was waiting for him to approach. As he did, he saw the one thing he was here for. Sitting down on the ground was a white creature outlined by a black aura, a massive grin on its face. They were once again in the presence of the truth. So you have returned, Edward Elric, the truth spoke. What reason do you have for creating a semi-permanent gate to my world? I want to ask you to take away the ability to use alchemy from everyone in my world, Edward said. I will give up my life and my brother is ready to give up his. Just take the alchemy away and everything in relation with it. Oh my, you asking for something big, aren't you, boy? Truth spoke. However, the life of your brother and yours will not be needed. Instead you will give up that which is the most important thing in your heart aside from you, brother. The most important thing within my heart is that what you're asking for? Edward asked the truth. That is right, young alchemist. Do this and everything related to alchemy will be gone. From being able to use it to getting rid of the homunculus, Truth responded. Fine, what is it that I must give up? Edward said. The truth grinned like a mad person before raising his hand and a ball of light appeared in the air. What you must give up is the girl whom you have fallen in love with. A picture of Winry appeared in the ball. Brother, don't do it, spoke Alphonse. Edward stared at the ball, more specifically at the smiling face of Winry, who was working on what seemed to be automail. This was the toughest decision he had to make. If he accepted, then he would never be able to feel what he feels for her at the moment again. But if he didn't, then the whole country would perish. What will happen to Winry if I accept? The short boy asked. Well, I will first remove all the memories of you from her and her grandmother's lives. No matter what, she will never remember you again. The same will be done to you and everyone who met them. The truth spoke. Edward just kept quiet, thinking that maybe they could meet again in their new lives. However, there is another little thing that you must know. The girl will not remain in this dimension. I plan on sending her to a whole new world along with her grandmother. There they will begin a new life. Alphonse and Edward were stunned. This was the biggest price that they would have to take. They would bring peace to the land, but the sacrifice was great. One question, will Winry be happy there? Was the next question that was asked by the blonde. Oh yes, she will be happy. I have seen her future and she will find true happiness, as you humans call it, Truth told them. Fine, then do it, Edward said. Brother, Al said, why? Sacrifices must be made, even if they're unfair, Ed said, tears going down his face. Good, then it is granted, Truth said as he disappeared along with the gate. Ed turned to look at his brother and was shocked to see him standing there in his human body once again. He could also feel himself forgetting about alchemy and Winry. Goodbye Winry, Ed said. Konoha regular time ** screams could be heard all through the woods as well as laughter. Also the smell of fire burning could be smelled. Not only that, but the smell of burning flesh filled the area. The group of people that had taken Naruto stood around him laughing at him, for Naruto was hung from a tree next to the fire they made. However, Naruto had tears running down his face as he tried to numb out the pain he was feeling. His eyes were red from crying as he then looked at his left arm only to see the bloody stump. Not only was his left arm was missing, but his left leg was also gone only up to the thigh. Though that didn't help at all as the pain was unbearable. What do you guys say we go and celebrate our victory at the bar and tell everyone that we finally killed the Kyuubi? Said one of the ninjas within the group. Yeah. Everyone shouted. Giving one last look at the blonde, they all left, leaving him tied around the tree, letting just bleed out. Naruto on the other hand could already feel his life fading as the world started to get dark all around him. The last thing he could see was a mop of blonde hair coming in his direction. Somewhere else with Naruto *, he didn't know how long he was lying there. The darkness had not stopped moving toward him. But he was still in a fetal position on the cold hard ground. Tears still came down his face as he could still feel the pain of having his limbs removed. Then out of nowhere a grumbling sound came. More like a roar, as if someone was in pain. Then just as the sound came it was gone, then everything went white. That's when Naruto felt the pain go away. Opening his eyes he looked down and saw that both his arms were in the rightful place. Smiling he hoped that all that happened was nothing but a bad dream. Standing up on his 2 feet he noticed that there was nothing close by. Getting up he began to walk around until he came upon the biggest gate he had ever seen. The gate itself was bigger than the one that the village had. However, there was no one around. Just as he was about to continue his search to find out where he was, he heard a chuckle from behind. Turning slowly he came face to face with the most bizarre thing he had ever had. For in front of him stood a creature pure white in color with a black line around its body. It had no eyes. But it did have a mouth, and it was a horrible smile that showed all of its teeth. All in all, Naruto was terrified of whatever it was. My, what do we have here? It asked. It's been years since a human last stepped into my domain. But I wonder how you got here. I was sure that I sealed any way into here unless. Who or what are you? Asked Naruto, trying to show his so-called bravery. The white creature made its way past Naruto and went to stand in front of the gate before looking back at the blonde. Oh, where are my manners? I am what you call the world, the universe, all one. Even some call me God. But more importantly, I am you, the creature said, never looking away from Naruto if it had eyes. Naruto stepped back. He didn't know what to make of this thing in front of him, how it would refer itself to everything. Where am I? Asked Naruto. Why don't I show you? The truth spoke. As he said that, the gate behind it opened and a black hand-like shadow shot out and grabbed Naruto, dragging him into the gate, where he saw countless images of things, places, and people he never seen before. However, it didn't last too long as he was soon thrown out of the gate and landed in front of the truth. He looked at said thing and he couldn't believe what had just happened. Although he had only seen flashes of what he was shown, he could remember all of it, and it felt so natural to him. What was all that? It all felt so natural to me, said the blonde. Well, now that we have that out of the way, I am curious about you. Truth spoke. I sealed the gate a long time ago when a pair of alchemists gave everything up for me to take their alchemy away and not allow anyone in here again, but you somehow were able to enter. I wonder, do you have 2 souls in your body? 2 souls? Is that even possible? Asked Naruto. The truth said nothing as it began to feel Naruto out. For a few minutes nothing happened. Then it did. The white thing grinned like a madman at what it had just found out. My, this is interesting. You do have 2 souls in you. And 1 fragmented soul as well, Truth revealed. But I don't care about those fragments. I care about the one sealed in your stomach. It has a tremendous amount of power. If I were to take a guess, I would say that it is none other than the Kyuubi no Yoko from your world. His eyes went wide. Is that why everyone hated him for? Was the Kyuubi really sealed inside of him? But then it all made sense in some way. People hated him because of the fox in his stomach. And since it was the Yondaver who fought the fox all those years ago, then that could only mean that it was he who had made his life a living hell. Listen, boy, and listen carefully. I am feeling generous today since it has been a long time since I was last visited. That I will make you a deal. I will exchange knowledge and skills for the fox, 1 for each of its tails, Truth said. Knowledge and skills, for each one of the fox's tails? Naruto asked, a little confused. Why don't I choose for you? The Truth said as it raised its arm. All around him figures rose from the ground and took shape. I will give you the abilities of these alchemists who once lived, and not only that, I will also give you the Philosopher's Stone that once belonged to the homunculus Greed. It has over 1 billion purified souls in it that will allow you to use any all kind of alchemy you desire. Aside from that, allow me to introduce to you and tell you who these people are. The one with the serious expression in named Roy Mustang. He was known as the Flame Alchemist thanks to a special pair of gloves he wore that allowed he to turn the air into a combustible gas that with a snap of his fingers he lit it up, creating massive balls of fire. The tall and muscular one was known as Louis Armstrong. From the string arm family, he was proficient in hand-to-hand combat and always had a pair of gauntlets that allowed him to use earth-based alchemy. The little short man is called Giulio Comanche. He was known as the Silver Alchemist. He had special alchemy transmutation circles on his hand palms that allowed him to turn the dirt into a weapon on any kind. He could make swords, chains, and sickles. He had other things he could make as long as it was a weapon. Over there we have an Ishvalan by the name of Scar. Has a special ability to destroy and restore with his arm. He can destroy virtually anything at a cellular kind of level and reform those things in whatever he desires. Like I say, I will also give you Greed's Philosopher's Stone that has 1 billion souls that have all been purified so they won't corrupt you. He will allow you to cover your body in what is called the Ultimate Shield. This however will cost you 2 taels worth of power. I will also give you the knowledge of another unnamed alchemist and learn all of his skills, and also I will give you a special gift that will allow you to use your own kind of alchemy. That will the creation of adamantine, the strongest mineral known. You will get the idea of how it works. The last one will be a little different. I will restore your left leg that was cut off and destroyed, and you will be able to walk on your 2 legs again. So what do you say, boy? Do we have a deal? Say I accept this deal, then what's the catch? Asked Naruto. So you know that everything isn't as free as you think. Yes, there is a catch. When I showed you the gate, I took as payment all of your chakra, leaving you with the minimum amount to live, but you will never be able to use it, Truth said. However, with the alchemy you will just as strong as any ninja as long as you train your body. Naruto thought about it for a minute, thinking on the good thing and bad things. If he took the offer he would gain a skill unique to him and him only. That and the drawback would be he would not be able to use any of those cool ninja techniques, but if that was the price he had to pay for getting rid of the fox, then he would pay it. Hopefully the old man would still let him be a ninja. Very well, I'll take the offer, said Naruto. Good. As soon as Naruto accepted the offer, the Truth pulled the Kyuubi out of Naruto's body. As soon as it was out it looked around and knew where he was. Looking down at the boy who held him, he saw as new beings entered the boy. He knew what those were. Looking around he spotted the one thing that he feared the most. It had the thing a menacing growl before turning to the boy. You foolish human, what have you done? It roared out. Do you know that you have damned me to the truth? I will kill you for your insolence. The Kyuubi tried to jump Naruto, but the Truth somehow held it back as it allowed a smirk on its face. Now be gone, boy, and use those powers as you like. With that, Naruto was forced away from the gate. The Truth looked at the fox and said, I guess it's fox for dinner. With Naruto opened his eyes hoping to find himself back in his apartment, but when he looked he saw that he was in what seemed to be a house. Trying to sit up he found himself unable to. Looking at his left arm he saw that it was already bandaged up. That's when he remembered everything that happened. Pushing the bed sheets away he wanted to see if his leg was also missing. What he saw was different. There were bandages but they were ripped apart and his leg was there good as new. All in all, the truth had spoken the truth, as it had restored his leg that was cut off by those shinobi whom had attacked him. He was about to get up and find out where he was when the door to the room opened. "Oh, you're awake," said a soft voice. Naruto turned his head and his jaw instantly dropped. For standing in the doorway was the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. She was even prettier than his Sakura-chan. She seemed to be a year older than him. Long blonde hair that was tied up in a ponytail, deep blue eyes just like his. She wore an apron over a white tank top, and a blue miniskirt, as well as high heels. "Who are you? And where am I?" asked Naruto. "Sorry about that. My name is Winry Rockbell," responded the blonde-haired girl. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village. The great professor, and the surrogate grandfather of Naruto Uzumaki, couldn't help but feel a pain in his chest as he watched said boy going through surgery that would restore his lost limb. He had been called to this little house 3 weeks ago when the owner had found Naruto tied to a tree with his left arm missing along with his left leg. But for some reason the boy had regrown his leg. It wasn't until he was told by Naruto that he knew the truth as to what he was. The truth was that he had been stunned. And then when Naruto mentioned his parents, things turned for the worst. He had explained to Naruto why he had kept it a secret. The Uzumaki had not been happy, but his anger had left him. This allowed the old man to apologize to him. When the Hokage had asked Naruto what had happened, the boy didn't answer at first, but then he slowly began explaining what had happened. When he got to the part of the Kyuubi, the old man was mortified to know that the fox was gone. But he almost had a heart attack when the boy said he lost his ability to mold chakra. Thinking that Naruto's dream was dead, he was once again surprised by the boy when he told him about his meeting with the truth and the gifts he got from it. The two decided to keep it a secret between them for now until the time was right to reveal the secret. After the explanation was over with, the Hokage began to think on how he was going to help Naruto become a ninja since he had a missing limb. It was at this moment that Winry's grandmother Pinako Rockbell came in and told him about the newest auto-mail design, and since Naruto couldn't use chakra then the fake limb would be perfect. But she also explained about the process and how painful it would be. Naruto was all for it and the old man had no choice but to concede with the boy's request. And now here he was glancing at the blonde as the two women were in the middle of the surgery of installing the fake limb. He could see the boy screaming and crying from the pain, but there was nothing he could do about it. An hour later, the females came out and told the Hokage that the surgery was a success and that the boy would be able to begin his 1-year road to recovery. The old man was happy. But the problem at the moment was where he was going to find someone with physical therapy experience. He didn't know. A thought came to mind as he summoned an Anbu to go and find a certain person. He on the other hand went into the room and saw Naruto was fast asleep. A smile appeared on his wrinkly old face. At the same time a tall man wearing a green spandex jumpsuit, a green Jonin vest, he had a bowl-shaped haircut, really thick eyebrows on his face, orange leg warmers, and a leaf headband tied around his waist like a belt. "Lord Hokage, did you call for me?" said the man. "Yes I did, Guy. You see the boy here?" said the Hokage looking straight at the sleeping blonde. "Isn't that the Kyuubi Jinchuriki?" asked Guy, not believing what he was seeing. He had heard rumors about this boy. Most of what he heard said that he had the ability to outrun most Anbu Black Ops, and that every time he was in the hospital after being attacked by the villager, he would only be there for a day tops. But seeing him confined to a bed, he knew that he had attacked severely. What happened to him? "He was attacked once again by those blind fools," said the Hokage. "However, this time they went too far as to remove his left arm. Not only that, but he also lost his ability to use chakra. The residents of this house have given him an automail limb. But he is weak at the moment and he needs someone to help him through his therapy to regain his full mobility skills. That is why I have summoned you for Guy." I want you to help in the recovery of young Naruto. Say no more Hokage-sama. I will make sure that young Uzumaki is able to move as he used to replenish his flames of youth," said Guy, flashing the old man a good guy smile which made him shiver. "Also, if it isn't too much trouble, I would like you to teach him taijutsu," the Hokage said. "Of course Hokage-sama, but I have to ask, will he become a shinobi even though he has no way of using chakra?" the spandex-wearing man asked. "If he wishes to become one he will. After all, you're a shinobi and you never really use ninjutsu," Sarutobi said. "True Hokage-sama. Now then, I will take my leave. Please tell young Naruto-kun to meet me in Training Field 9 in 3 days, said Guy as he left the room. At that point, Guy left the room and headed to his house to start his plan on how he would help Naruto regain full control of his arm and on what style of taijutsu to teach him. Back in the Rockbell house, we find Naruto now awake and sitting up on his bed eating a bowl of ramen that the old man had brought him. Next to him sat his new friend Winry, who was checking his arm to make sure that everything was in place and that nothing was malfunctioning. "Well Naruto, everything seems to be in place, so you're all set for when you begin your training in 3 days, Winry informed her fellow blonde. "Thanks Winry-chan," said Naruto with a foxy smile which made the girl blush slightly. "Well, I need to go and talk to Granny, so I'll come back later," said Winry, leaving the blonde alone to finish his ramen. Winry walked into the kitchen to see her grandmother sitting at the table smoking her pipe as she went over an order she had been requested for a civilian. Looking up from her work, she saw her granddaughter going over to the stove to put a kettle on to make some tea. A smile appeared on her face as she saw her grab the box of green tea leaves, the very same kind that the young man sleeping in their spare room. "So making tea for Naruto again, are you, Winry?" she asked. Winry blushed at the innuendo that her grandmother was making, but for some reason she couldn't deny it. "Don't worry, H is a good and strong boy who had overcome many hardships. He will need love to fully recover," Pinako said as she put her pipe down. The old woman then left the girl to ponder about what she felt for the younger blonde. She was a year older than him. She was 14 and he was 13. 3 days passed fast and now Naruto was making his way over to Training Field 9, where the old man told him he would meet his sensei for the next 6 months. As soon as he arrived there, he inwardly began to curse the old man as he spotted a man wearing a horrible skin-tight green jumpsuit and with those fuzzy caterpillars sucking on his face. "Ah, Naruto-kun, glad you could make it," the man said. "I am Mito Guy, the green beast of Konohagakure, and the best taijutsu user in the village." "A pleasure to meet you too, sensei," said Naruto, not trying to look into his eyes. "Well, let us then ignite our flames of youth with some warm-up exercises. First you will run 100 laps around the training field, followed by 100 push-up, sit-ups, and to end 200 kicks and punches on the training post over here," said Guy. Naruto's eye began to twitch as he began to regret coming here. That wasn't a warm-up. Hell, he doubted this was even training. This was straight-out torture. The blonde started slowly at first to see where his stamina was at and found out that with the loss of his chakra he was nowhere as resistant as he used to be and he was severely weakened. It took Naruto 3 hours to finish the laps around the training field and another 5 to finish the rest of the exercises, and in the end he was so tired that he could barely move. "Well Naruto-kun, we must reignite your flames of youth with more training," Guy said with a blinding smile. "You call this training? I call it torture, you sadistic bastard," Naruto yelled. "Such unyouthful comments. We must replenish your flames of yo," said Guy, only to see that he was alone and the blonde was running away from him. Chuckling, he took after the boy. This continued for the next 6 months. Naruto would go and work with Guy in the day, and spend the afternoons hanging out with Winry learning how to make automail. By the time that Guy came to tell him that their training sessions would be less frequent now that he had a team, he was sad. Sure, it was bad at first, but in the end he grown to like the man. However, even though the man had gotten a Genin team, he and Naruto would train early in the mornings. And he could proudly say that he was a match for most shinobi in a straight-out taijutsu match. Sure, he had no genjutsu or ninjutsu, but his alchemy made it up for that part. Every passing day he would get better slowly, but better nonetheless. Now it was time for him to return to the academy for his final chance at becoming a shinobi. He had already planned out what to do in case he failed again. He would help Winry and Pinako with their business and maybe even open one of his own. With Hokage, Sarutobi was not having a good day. Tomorrow was the beginning of a new school year. And in front of him he had the list of the most promising class to date. However, the problem was that there was one name missing and he was damned if he wasn't allowed to join. He had already called upon the council to meet for a meeting in 20 minutes, and he was going to chew the civilians a new one when he got there. An Anbu with a dog mask appeared in the room and bowed before the Hokage, informing him that the council was ready and they were waiting for him to arrive. Nodding and dismissing said Anbu, he got up and headed to the room. It only took a couple of minutes before he arrived. Walking inside, he saw that everyone was accounted for. On the right sat the civilian council members, whom were led by a pink-haired woman named Sayo Haruno. On the left side sat the clan heads. They were Shikaku Nara, the lazy Jonin commander who would rather be sleeping than working. He was the head of the Nara clan. Next to him sat his two former teammates and closest friends, a blonde man named Inoichi Yamanaka, head of the I&T department and head of the Yamanaka clan, whom specialized in mind-walking jutsu, a big-boned man with wild brown hair, the head of the Akamichi clan Shuza Akamichi and proud owner of some of the best restaurants in the village. These three once made the Inoshika Cho trio. Next to them sat the head of the most influential clan in the entire village, Hyuga Hiyashi, the head of the Hyuga clan, a clan with special eyes that allow him to see through solid objects. Next to him sat a wild-looking woman, and her canine partner. These are Sume Inuzuka and Kadomaru, the alpha of the Inuzuka clan, and sitting next to her, sat the ever-calm and collected head of the Aburame clan, Shibi Aburame. He could then see his two former teammates and his advisors, Koharu and Omura. Along with them sat his rival Danzo, a war hawk who only believed that only through violence would one be truly strong. Going to his seat, Sarutobi glanced at the empty seats of the Senju and the Uchiha clans. The two founding clans of the village were now all but extinct. Nodding to all, he took his seat and the meeting had officially begun. I have reviewed the roster for the new graduating class, and I have to say that this is the most promising class to date. We have 7 clan heirs in it, the Hokage said with a smile which turned into a frown. However, I have to wonder why young Naruto Uzumaki is not listed. Hokage-sama, with all due respect, that demon should even be allowed to hold a kunai. What if he decides to attack us? Said a foolish civilian. Next thing that happened, he was kissing the ground with 2 Anbu holding him. Take him to Ibiki. Maybe he will learn not to break my laws, the third said sternly. Sarutobi, the boy is a wild card. He has already failed twice. I don't think he should be allowed a third chance, Koharu said. I think that Naruto-kun should be allowed into the academy, Sarutobi said. Yes, we know that you are fond of the boy, but he is too dangerous, the Haruno woman said. Sighing, he knew that he was getting nowhere, and if he didn't find a way to turn this in his favor. Thinking quickly, the only thing that came to his mind was alchemy. He knew that he would be betraying the boy, but it was his only hope. I am about to reveal an SS-ranked secret to all of you, Sarutobi said, drawing everyone's attention. What could be so bad about this secret that it is such high-classed? Asked his former teammate Omura. A year ago, Naruto Uzumaki was attacked yet again. This time, however, his attackers not only beat him until they grew tired, they decided to remove his left arm, and to ensure that it would be gone forever, they burned said limb. Thankfully, a wonderful seminarian helped him. Naruto only lived because his Kekkei Genkai awoke, the Hokage said. As soon as the words Kekkei Genkai left his mouth, the whole room became quiet. Not even the cricket in the corner made a sound. Then all of the sudden questions were being thrown at him, all wondering what kind of demonic bloodline had the demon brat awoken. Silence! Shouted the Hokage. Yes, Naruto has a very unique bloodline. It was thanks to it that he lived. But it comes at a terrible cost. Naruto is no longer able to use chakra. Also, when he lost his usage of chakra, the Kyuubi also died along with it. The bloodline was forgotten as Sarutobi said that the Kyuubi was gone. The demon that had terrorized them for so long was now gone. One question went through their heads: how? While most were stunned, one person was looking calm. However, on the inside he was seething. The most powerful weapon was now gone. It was Sarutobi's fault in his mind. He had prevented him from getting his weapon to take over the village, and all his plans to acquire the demon were gone. Then he remembered the one thing that the old monkey had said about the boy having a bloodline. But how was that possible if he couldn't use chakra? Sarutobi, I must ask, how is the boy able to use his bloodline without the use of chakra? Danzo asked. The third looked at the old war hawk. He knew that he was bound to be the first to ask that question, and then he would go on to demand that the boy be handed to him for training. But the joke would be on him, as he had already taken precautions in case that were to happen. He also noticed that almost everyone was now looking at him, waiting for his answer. He hoped Naruto would forgive him. But it has to be done. Although he would keep the alchemy part a secret, the power of greed on the other hand was different. When I talked to Naruto, he told me that in order for the bloodline to activate he had to give up something of equal value in exchange, Sarutobi said. He said that he gave up his chakra and kept enough to live, and maybe would be able to use the tree climbing and water walking exercises. To most of our surprise, he is able to do both just fine. Anyways, when I asked him how he was able to use his bloodline, he told me that it didn't require chakra. Now this had everyone on the edge of their seats. The aspects of this bloodline that require no chakra was making them all eager to know what it is. Danzo smirked inwardly, coming up with all kinds of plans to get the boy to join his route and become a weapon. But first he had to know what this bloodline was. What exactly does this Kekkei Genkai do, Hokage-sama? Asked the Aburame clan head. It encases Naruto in what we call the ultimate shield. His body is covered in iron-like substance that is nearly impossible to penetrate. I, along with a ninja of my trusting, did all we could to penetrate it. But we were hard-pressed to achieve it, said Sarutobi. No matter what we used, nothing could get past it. We even tried to use ninjutsu on it. But when the jutsu got close to him, it simply vanished. The only thing that managed to hit him and hurt him slightly was an S-rank jutsu. Now this was what he needed. The boy truly had the most powerful Kekkei Genkai in the village. However, now that this fool had told everyone, the chances of him getting his hands on the boy were slim. So he had to think of a way to get his hands on this bloodline. I say we put the boy under the CRA, Danzo said. If this indeed is a new bloodline, then we must do everything at hand to make sure it is preserved. I agree with Danzo. This boy must pass on his bloodline, and I doubt one female will be able to bear many children, Omura said. As do I. There is the possibility of the Kekkei Genkai mutating, to adapt itself to coexist with chakra. Just imagine, the leaf will grow to be feared even more, Koharu said. No, the Hokage said. Naruto is still young, and is yet to become a shinobi, so he will not be placed under the CRA. You must be going senile in your old age, Hiruzen. The boy must pass on his bloodline, Danzo said, standing up. Danzo, you will show respect to me or I will have you go to Ibiki, Sarutobi said, letting a large amount of ki out. Hokage-sama, spoke up the quiet Hiashi, I must agree with Danzo. The boy's bloodline will need to be passed on, so I say we take a vote on this. Hiruzen looked at the Hyuga head. He began to wonder if he had done the right thing by telling him about the boy's shield. Thank Kami he didn't tell them about his alchemy, or else they would demanding the boy to be turned into a breeding machine to produce a whole army of alchemists. Before we vote, I will say this: regardless of the outcome, Naruto will be allowed to enter the academy for one last chance to become a ninja, the third said. The people in the room all nodded. However, most were coming up with a way to marry their daughters to the boy in order to get more power. All in favor of Naruto being placed under the CRA, raise your hand. With Naruto *, it was finally time. The time had come for him to get his last chance at becoming a ninja. Naruto stood at the doorway of his apartment, thoughts of what the old man Hokage had told running through his head. First he was told to keep his skills a secret, not to let anyone see his arm. And to be careful. He looked at his new clothes that his best friend Winry had made for him and had to admit that he liked him a lot. And for some reason he didn't miss his old orange jumpsuit. He wore black pants, black combat boots, a long-sleeve black shirt. Over it he wore a long-sleeve blue and white trench coat. On the back it had the Ouroboros tattoo that he had on his right hand. On his hands he wore a simple pair of white gloves, on his hip he had 2 ninja pouches, in them he carried his Flame Alchemist gloves, the Armstrong gauntlets. Aside from that he carried a special scroll the old man had made for him. It contained a blood seal that would release a spare automail arm in case the one he had on was somehow destroyed. Sighing, he headed to the academy. He began to wonder what all he would need for this year. Sure, nothing was out his reach now that he had alchemy. He could create virtually any kind of weapon he desired. Kunai and shuriken were problem for him to make. Hell, he even made things such as a bow staff and a sword. But he had a favorite, and that was the chain. Sure, it wasn't the most common weapon, but he liked it nonetheless. His mind wandered over to the previous night when he took Winry out to dinner. The night had gone perfect except for the part where most of the villagers were looking at him the same way they always did. But this time he experienced a new one. Many girls and older women were looking at him for some reason. Shaking his head from such thoughts, he looked up and saw that he was at the academy already. Pulling out a piece of paper, he saw the classroom number he was in. Walking down the hallway, he looked all around for his room. He found out it was all the way to the end of the hallway. Walking inside, he saw that there was only a handful of students present. Without saying anything, he went to the back and glanced out the window until the room filled itself with the rest of the students. 10 minutes later, the room was packed, and then the door opened and everyone quieted down as a man walked in. He had black hair tied in the shape of a pineapple, and a scar across his face. The other person who walked in had silver hair and wore a bandana. "Welcome everyone. I will be your sensei for the next year. I am Aruka Yumino, and this here is my assistant Mizuki. And you will address us as Aruka-sensei and Mizuki-sensei," the man known as Aruka said. "Now when I call your name, please stand up and introduce yourself to the class. Give your name, likes, dislike, and dreams for the future." Shino Aburame, a boy wearing a gray coat and sunglasses, stood up. "My name is Shino Aburame. I come from the Aburame clan. My likes are learning my clan's jutsu and collecting new species of insects. I dislike those who kill insects for no reason. My dreams for the future is to take over my clan and collect new species of insects." Choji Akamichi, a fat, big-boned boy, stood up as he munched on a couple of chips. "Choji Akamichi. I'm from the Akamichi clan. I like eating and trying new foods. I dislike it when people call me fat. I dream of taking over my clan." This went on as the teachers called on other students. Many wanted to be famous shinobi and save princesses. Then came a person who he knew rather well. She had long pink hair, green eyes, wore a red battle dress of some kind. "My name is Sakura Haruno. My likes are, looks at Sasuke. I hate those who come between me and looks at Sasuke, and my dreams are looks at Sasuke." God, what did I ever see in her in the first place, thought Naruto. Next after came some of the civilian children. They stopped paying attention until he saw an indigo-haired girl with light violet eyes stand up and introduce herself. "My name is Hinata Hyuga," she said. "I like pressing flowers and spending time with my sister. I don't really dislike many things. My dream is to get a certain someone to acknowledge me." Where have I seen her before? Thought Naruto. Oh yeah, Shusha's that girl that was being bullied by those older kids one day. The Hyuga girl sat back down, and out of the corner of her eye she kept glancing at Naruto. Ever since that day she was saved by him, she couldn't help but be attracted to him. She swore to become his wife even if it was the last thing she did. "Alright, listen up. I'm Kiba Inuzuka. And I'm the top dog around here. I like my partner and mother, don't really like my sister, and I dream of finding the hottest bitch in this place to take as my bitch." "Oh greater horny mutt," thought Naruto. The next person that stood up had the same hairstyle as their sensei, Shikamaru Nara. "I like sleeping and watching clouds. I hate troublesome people. I don't really have a dream." "A lazy bastard," said Naruto with a chuckle. Sasuke Uchiha. The dark-haired boy with a duck-ass hairstyle stood up. "Sasuke Uchiha. I don't really like anything. And I have a lot of dislikes. My dream is an ambition." With that, the Uchiha sat back down as many girls began to whisper about him and whisper about how cool he was. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto stood up as most of the class looked at him. "Uzumaki Naruto. I have many like and dislikes. dreams, well those are mine. All we learned was his name, thought everyone with a sweat drop. Somewhere else in Konoha a silver-haired Anbu sneezed. Why do I feel like a little blonde boy just made me feel really happy. Naruto sat back down and waited for the last person to go and get this over with. The last person was a blonde-haired girl from the Yamanaka clan. In his opinion she was kind of cute, but none of the girls in his class even compared to Winry. Naruto was in one of the open training fields. For the last 2 hours he had been here punching the same tree stump over and over again. The reason? For the last 5 months since he had begun the academy he had been thinking about Winry a lot. He went as far as comparing the other girls in the class to her. He didn't know what was wrong with him. Hell, he didn't know what to do anymore. He needed someone to talk to. But all the people he knew were busy. Bushy Brows Sensei had gotten a Genin team, so he was a no-go. He thought about asking Grandma Pinako, but he was afraid that she would beat him with a wrench. This only left one person, the old man Hokage. However, the old man had been rather busy lately for some reason, so now he had to wait for a time when he would be free. Sighing, he stopped beating the poor tree stump, and sat down leaning into the stump. He ran his hands through his blonde hair thinking on what to do and as to why he couldn't get his mechanic out of his head. I thought I would find you here, a voice said, breaking him out of his thoughts. Naruto looked up and saw a smiling Winry standing in front of him. She wore a white tank top that hugged her C-cup breast, and a pink skirt. In her hands was a picnic basket. Just looking at her he felt his heart speed up and a small barely noticeable pink tint dusted his cheeks. What are you doing here, Winry-chan? Naruto asked as he stood up. Well, since today is your monthly checkup I thought that before you come over, that we could go on a picnic, Winry said with a small blush. Not mention we haven't been able to spend a lot of time together lately. Sure. Naruto said happily. A smile appeared in Winry's face and the two walked away to a spot where Naruto enjoyed going. To the top of the Hokage monument. Neither of the two noticed a shy brunette hiding behind a tree in the training field. Her hands tightened in a fist while she glared at the blonde whore who was trying to steal her Naruto-kun. She would make her regret ever going near her man. And what was she meaning when she said that Naruto had an appointment? She would find out what was going on. She had to. This was the man who protected her from those bullies that cornered her. Whoever you are, I won't let you take my Naruto-kun, the girl said darkly. Meanwhile, Naruto and Winry sat on top of the fourth Hokage's head eating the food that the blonde mechanic had made. Naruto just kept telling her about what he had been doing at the academy and about his latest prank he had played. Winry just laughed at his antics. Yep, she had missed spending time with Naruto. The only they saw each other nowadays was when he came in for his appointments. So do you think that you will be the Rookie of the Year? Winry asked. Maybe. I still don't know how I'm going to perform the basic academy jutsus, Naruto responded. The only things I can is the tree and water walking exercises. That's true. So what plans do you have at the moment to pass? Well, I can create clones using my alchemy, but the substitution and the henge are the hardest to replicate, Naruto said. Hopefully the old man Hokage will find some alternate test for me to take. That would be great, that way you will still be able to be a ninja, Winry said. Come, we better go before Grandma Pinako wonders where we are. The two stood up from their place and picked up their trash before leaving to go to Naruto's appointment. 20 minutes later both had finally arrived at Rockbell Clinic. Naruto entered after Winry. Inside, the small old woman was sitting on a cough smoking her pipe and reading the newspaper. Hey Granny Pinako, Naruto called out. Ah? Naruto, good to see you my boy. Ready for your appointment? The old woman asked as she put down her newspaper. Yep, the blonde ninja responded. Well, let's start. You know the drill, Pinako said. Winry, you come too. The three went into the back room. Naruto sat on the bed and removed his jacket followed by his shirt. Winry only blushed as she looked as she stared at his well-developed torso. She knew he had trained a lot to gain those abs, but they seemed more developed since the last time she had seen him. Later that night, after Naruto had left, Winry was helping her grandmother clean up all of the materials that had been used. A large smile could be seen on the blonde's face as she cleaned. Pinako watched her granddaughter and knew what was going on with her if her actions today were anything to go by. "I haven't seen you this cheerful for a long time, Winry," Pinako said. "Could it be that seeing the brat after a while made you this happy?" "Grandma!" cried Winry. "Just kidding, but really you haven't been this happy for a while," the old lady said. "Well, I spent some time with Naruto-kun before coming here. We had a sort of mini picnic at the Hokage monument," Winry said with a smile. "I see," Pinako said with a small smile. Naruto meanwhile was walking back home. He had just gotten his automail checked out and was all set to go. Only 2 more months and he would finally be able to take the Genin exams to become a shinobi, and he couldn't wait to finally achieve his dream. 2 months later, Hiruzen Sarutobi sat in his office with the worst enemy of all cages. Paperwork. It had been a long day so far and he just hoped that something interesting would happen to take his mind off the work. And as if Kami was listening, someone knocked on his office door. Saying a come in, the door opened and his favorite surrogate grandson, Naruto Uzumaki, walked in with a large smile. He had blonde hair, deep blue eyes. The whisker-like marking he used to had now were barely visible. He now stood at 5 feet. He wore black boots, black pants with a silver line going down on the side, a black muscle shirt that showed his well-toned torso, a black cloak with silver linings licking the bottom, the Uzumaki clan symbol on the back, and a pair of white gloves. Overall his clothes were designed to hide his mechanical arm. "Hey, Gigi, what you call me for?" asked Naruto. "Ah, Naruto-kun, thank you for coming," Sarutobi said as he placed his pen down. "As to why I called you for, well, I reviewed your test scores from the academy and you have a decent score that will let you pass, but as you know that could easily be overwritten if you failed the jutsu part, as it is 60% of your grade. And since you're unable to use chakra, I managed to convince the clan head to give you a different test." "Oh, what kind of test will I be taking then?" asked Naruto, knowing that he would fail the jutsu part as he could not use chakra. "The day of the exam you will be performing a special test in front of the clan heads," Sarutobi responded. "So it's time, eh?" "Well, can't say that I am surprised since it was bound to happen," Naruto said. "So can I get those materials now?" "Yes, in fact I already sent an order for those things," the Hokage said. "Anyways, I'll send an Anbu to get you when it's time." "Okay. Well, if that's all, then I will take my leave now," Naruto said as he walked out of the office. The third watched as the blonde left. He, on the other hand, was worried at what would happen after the exam. He could remember that day when he told the council about what had happened to the blonde that dreadful day. They had demanded that the boy be placed in a breeding program so a new generation of shinobi would be born, but he shot that idea down since they just wanted a new weapon and they would be the ones choosing the girls for the boy. Another problem that arose was that old warhawk Danzo also had the decency to demand that Naruto be handed over to him to be made into a loyal shinobi of Konoha, which would mean that he would turn him into a weapon that would be used to take over the village. In the end, they all voted about what would be done. To his luck, everything came down to a tie, and thanks to the shinobi clan heads, a choice was then made that since the boy was unable to use chakra for anything other than tree and water walking, but had some strange new skills that might be a Kekkei Genkai, the day that Naruto would graduate, they would administer the exam to see if he qualifies to be a ninja. Meanwhile, Naruto had just left the Hokage Tower and was about to head to get some training done when he spotted a familiar blonde walking out of a shop. Smiling, he ran over to where she stood looking at a shopping list. Winry had just finished shopping for her dinner. Now she was ready to go home and get started on the food. Just as she was about to leave, she felt pair of arms wrapped around her waist and a head rest on her shoulder. She was about to pull out her trusty wrench when the person spoke. "Hello, Winry-chan," said the person. "En Naruto-kun," she said, surprised as she recognized the voice. "Yep," Naruto said as he let her go, missing the disappointed look on her face. "What are you doing here? I thought that you would be at a field training for the final exam," Winry said. "Well, Gigi called me to his office to tell me that my test will be issued by the clan heads as they want a demonstration of what I can do," Naruto said. "What about you?" "Well, I just finished shopping for dinner and was about to head home," Winry responded. "Mind if I tag along?" Naruto asked. Not at all, Winry said happily. Great, let's go then, Naruto said, taking the bag she was carrying from her. Winry smiled and followed him. A few behind people were moving away from an alley as a horrible killer intent was emanating from a telephone pole that was next to it. Hiding behind the pole was the blue-haired white-eye stalker of Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga. She at the moment was pissed, something that she rarely was. For the last few months she had followed her crush and she would see him hanging out with the blonde bimbo. After the first time she had seen them together, she did everything in her power to find out who she was. Apparently she was some civilian girl by the name of Winry. Hinata had no idea why her Naruto-kun would be hanging out with someone like her, when he had her. She was from a prestigious clan, but, very soon he will be all hers. A few days later, Naruto sat in his seat at the back of the class looking out the window while he waited for class to begin. All around him students were arriving. Today was the day that everyone was waiting for, graduation day, and Naruto knew that soon he would be called to take his in front of the clan heads. "Hey Dobi, what the hell are you doing here?" asked an arrogant voice. Naruto turned his head to see a dark-haired boy, with purple fang tattoos on his cheeks. He wore brown pants, black ninja sandals, and a gray fur-trimmed coat. "The hell you want, Kiba?" asked Naruto. "Just want to know what you're doing here. Everyone knows that you can't use chakra, so why do you even try? You're never going to be a ninja, so just do yourself a favor and go home before you embarrass yourself," Kiba mocked. "Shut up, dog breath," Naruto said as he turned his attention to the outside again. The building suddenly started to tremble and everyone knew who was coming. Naruto rolled his eyes as he counted down mentally. 3, 2, 1, Naruto thought. The door to the room burst open and two girls ran into the room and began to bickering about who was first. One had long pink hair and green eyes. She wore a red battle dress with a pair of tight green biker shorts underneath. The other girl had blonde hair tied in a single ponytail with blue eyes. She wore a purple outfit with white bandages short. These were Sakura Haruno, his former crush, and her rival Ino Yamanaka, the heiress to the Yamanaka clan. "I made it first, Ino pig," the pink head shouted. "In your dreams, forehead," Ino argued back. The two then began throwing insults back at each other until the door opened again and their sensei Yumino Iruka entered. Holding a clipboard behind him was his assistant Mizuki. "Take a seat and shut up," Iruka said. A tick mark appeared on his head as he saw that no one was listening to him. "I said to shut up and take a seat." Instantly everyone shut up and the two girls went to take their seats. Sakura ran to take the open seat next to the Uchiha, but the Yamanaka pushed her onto the floor. The blonde girl stuck her tongue out at her and took the seat, making the pink head seethed in anger. "Well, now we will begin with the final exam," Iruka said as he removed a stack of papers from the clipboard. Iruka then began passing out the test exams, but stopped when a swirl of leaves picked up in the middle of the room. A cat-masked Anbu stood in the place of the swirl of leaves. "Forgive me, Iruka-san, but Hokage-sama sent me for Naruto," the Anbu said. "But the exam is just about to begin," Iruka said, worried. With Mizuki, the man had a grin on his face, thinking that if the brat didn't take the exam, then he would fail and he would be able to use him for his plans. "Yes, I know that, but I think the Hokage will be administrating a different test since he is unable to use chakra," Neko said. "Very well, Naruto," Iruka called out. Naruto stood up and walked over to the Anbu, who placed a hand on his shoulder, and both left in the swirl of leaves. The two arrived at a training ground where Naruto saw that the old man Hokage was already waiting. Along with him stood the clan heads. From left to right he could see the head of Inuzuka clan, Sume, and her dog partner Kuromaru. Next stood the ever stoic-looking head of the Aburame clan, Shibi. After them stood the head of the Hyuga clan, Hiashi, followed by the first generation of the Ino-Shika-Cho trio, Inoichi Yamanaka, father to Ino, Shikaku Nara, father to his classmate Shikamaru. Last was Shuza Akamichi, father to another of his classmates Choji. There was also another man he had seen at the meeting, but didn't know who he was. "Well, now that Naruto-kun is here, we can begin with the examination," the Hokage said, drawing the attention to himself. "Since I have seen Naruto's test scores, he won't have to take another First we will begin with taijutsu. One moment. A voice called out, interrupting Sarutobi. The heads of all the people in the field turned to see who had stopped the examination. To their displeasure they saw the one person they wished to see the least. It was an old man as old as the Sandaime. He had an arm in a sling, while he had half his face covered in bandages, and he also used a cane for support. It was the Sandaime's former rival for the position of Hokage, Danzo Shimamura. Behind the old warhawk were his two loyal puppies, Sarutobi's old teammates, Koharu and Omura, and to the dismay behind the two elders came the civilian council being led by none other than Lily Haruno, mother to Sakura Haruno. "Danzo, what is the meaning of this?" asked the Hokage. "It came to my attention that you would be giving the boy a special test to see if he is worthy of being a shinobi," Danzo responded. "Yes, and that doesn't explain why you are here though," Sarutobi inquired. "If the boy is to be given a test, then it would only right for the entire council to be in attendance." It was Koharu who responded, the old man Hokage. "Not only that, Hokage-sama, why are you even allowing him to take a special exam? You should be giving Uchiha-sama this test to grant him Chunin rank, as everyone knows that H is much more deserving," Lily added to the statement. "First, this test is a shinobi matter, so the civilian council has no say in this matter." Naruto finally decided to speak up. "Naruto-kun is right. This is indeed a shinobi matter, so if you all could leave so we can get this underway," Hiruzen said, trying to get him to leave. "I'm afraid not, Sarutobi," Omura said. "Since he is still a civilian, we are allowed to attend this examination." The third gritted his teeth as he knew that they were right and that he had no choice but to allow him to witness the test. "Fine," Sarutobi said. "Just remember that it is a ninja test, so just keep your comments to yourselves, as only the shinobi clan heads can pass or fail." Naruto. "Fine," Danzo said. But on the inside he was smirking triumphantly as he was finally going to see what kind of powers the Cubus Jinchuriki has. He had the implanted Sharingan that he took of an Uchiha, ready to copy and records whatever abilities so he could recreate them and create the ultimate shinobi, should that failed, to find some way to control the demon boy to use him in his conquest to take over the village. "Well, let us begin, Azumo," Sarutobi said. A man wearing the regular Chunin attires appeared before the Hokage. He had black hair and eyes, a bang covered his right eye, and he wore his Konoha headband as a bandana. "Yes, Lord Hokage," Azumo said. "Naruto, you will fight Azumo while we evaluate your overall taijutsu skills," Sarutobi said. "You have 5 minutes to show your skills." "Got it, Gigi," Naruto said as he turned to his opponent. "Well, Azumo, let's do this." "Come on then," Azumo said as he took a stance. Smiling, the blonde got into his position that he came up while being trained by Guy-sensei. Azumo was the first to move as he went to punch the boy. Naruto, seeing this, sent out his hand, catching the man's wrist, and at the same time he spun around. As he spun, he sent his left leg to try and kick the man behind the head. However, Azumo wasn't a Chunin for nothing. Sensing that the kick was coming, he ducked out of the way. Naruto released the Chunin's wrist and watched as his kick sailed over his head. Taking this opportunity, for the boy was distracted, he sent a powerful uppercut hitting Naruto in the chin, thus sending him skidding back. Naruto rubbed his chins, while Azumo wondered why he didn't send him flying back instead of making him skid back. The blonde smiled and ran straight at the older man, this time sending punch after punch. Azumo was forced to go on the defensive as he used his forearms to block the fists. The dark-haired man caught his punch. Naruto smirked and used his momentum to deliver a powerful kick to the Chunin's stomach, sending onto the ground. Not wanting to give him a moment to recover, he jumped into the air and came back down, driving knee into Azumo's chest. Azumo felt like someone had placed a boulder on his chest. The man placed his hand on the ground and pushed the blonde off of him. Naruto lost his footing as he was pushed off. Azumo stood as fast as he could, ignoring the pain in his chest, and delivered his own kick into Naruto's chest. Naruto landed on his back after being kicked, but, not wanting to give up, he pushed off the ground and ran straight at his opponent, sending a right hook at his face. Azumo used his left hand to redirect the fist. Finally he had his opening, and Naruto used his left hand to punch the man. The Chunin, who didn't know that his friend had a mechanical arm, felt like he had just been hit by a metal bow staff. That's enough. They heard the Sandemi call, stopping any further fighting. Naruto, hearing the match, he stopped. He went over to Izumo and offered his hand. Said man, seeing this comradeship, took the hand and was pulled onto his feet. Good. Now clan heads, if you please. Let us begin with the scoring, the Hokage said. Inoichi. From what I saw, I would say that Uzumaki-san is highly skilled in taijutsu, but there is room for some more improvement, Inoichi said. But overall I would grade him 8/10. Thank you, Inoichi. Shikaku. The old man said. I agree with everything Inoichi said, so I give him the same grade, an 8/10, the man said lazily. As Dai Hokage-sama, the head of the Akamichi clan, said, 8/10. Well, thank you, Shikaku. Shuza, they were told by the old man, Murakama. I see the boy has talent, so I give him a 9/10, the head of the Kurama clan head said. What of the rest of you? H is fine, but there requires a lot of work before he can fight a Hyuga, so a 6/10, Hiashi said. Ha, the pup is good, like the lazy trio said. 8/10, Sume said with a laugh. I would have to agree with my fellow clan heads. The boy shows great promise for someone unable to use chakra, so it would be unwise to grant him anything less than an 8/10, the stoic Shibi said. I see, thank you all, the Sandemi said as he turned to his surrogate grandson. Well, Naruto, I'm happy to announce that you passed the taijutsu part. Thank you, Naruto said with a bow. Now next would be the ninjutsu part, but as we know that's not possible, so we will now see Naruto's Kekkei Genkai, the Hokage informed. This was it, the time everyone was waiting for. Now they would see this mysterious bloodline that the Hokage had kept secret from them. Tora, if you would, the old man called out. A tiger-masked Anbu appeared in front of the old man. Nodding his head, Tora pulled out a scroll from his ninja pouch. He walked out onto the field and unrolled the scroll. He then channeled chakra on the single seal that was on there. In a cloud of smoke, the contents were unsealed. In the place of the scroll now was a large piece of metal of some sort and a smaller piece next to it. Next to them were a few diamonds along with what seemed to be a few pieces of adamantine. Eyebrows were raised at the sight of such an assortment of minerals and jewels, but all of them had one question in mind: why did he need all those things for? Over with the elders, they were wondering the same thing. Why was the Hokage pulling such amazing things for the demon? Danzo didn't show it, but he was irritated already. He hadn't gotten anything good and he was losing his patience by now. Naruto, Sarutobi called. This was it. Naruto walked over to where the required items were. Danzo leaned forward a little to go unnoticed. The civilians were already thinking on how to steal the skill to give them to their Uchiha-sama. Naruto now stood in front of the thing he had asked the Hokage for. His back was to the civilians as he clapped his hands together. This made everyone wonder what he was planning. Then he placed his palms on the ground in front of the steel and other minerals. At first nothing happened. That all changed when blue lightning bolts shot out from around the minerals. Light engulfed everything as they began to melt, and everyone could see that they were melding together. With one final flash of electricity, the light died down and jaws hit the dirt below. The items that Tora had unsealed were gone. Instead, now in their place laid the most magnificent weapon that not even the Higurashi shop could even produce. It was a large sickle and a long chain. The sickle itself was a silver color with a black line going down the middle of the 2-inch wide, 4 feet long blade. The grip was at least a foot long and about 5 inches thick. The chain that was attached to the pommel was 12 feet long with a black ball at the end that seemed to weigh around 25 pounds. All in the entire weapon seemed fitting for a shinobi. What kind of jutsu was that? Asked Inoichi. That was no jutsu, Naruto said. I have named my Kekkei Genkai the Alchemic Release. Alchemic Release? Repeated Hiashi. I don't see what's so great about this bloodline. Sure, you can make weapons, but I doubt that will do you much good. But that's where you're wrong, Hiashi, Sarutobi said. That isn't the only thing that the Alchemic Release can do. Naruto, show them what else can be done. Sure thing, old man, Naruto said with a smile as he reached into his hidden ninja pouch and pulled out a set of gauntlets with some intricate design on the back. Danzo was more intrigued by the boy's power. He tried to understand the seals on the back of the gauntlets, but his Sharingan was unable to copy them. Once Naruto was finished putting on the gauntlets, he took a deep breath as he began to think what he wanted to do. He stomped the ground as hard as he could, forcing a large boulder to burst from the ground up, which he punched when it was at eye level with him. Blue lightning bolts shot out from the place that Naruto punched it, sending it flying away, but as it flew, the boulder turned into 5 large arrowheads. The next thing he did was punch the ground, and again the blue electricity ran through the ground, creating a large wall of rock in the path of the arrowhead, stopping him. Naruto proceeded to punch the ground. Spikes shot out, this time from all over the area except where the spectators were. "How was that?" asked Naruto. "Incredible, such advanced earth manipulation," said Shuza with his mouth wide open. "Indeed," spoke the head of the Kurama clan. "As you can see, Naruto-kun's alchemy can be used in many ways, from creating weapons and other things to manipulating the elements like a true shinobi," the Hokage explained. "For the moment, I am able to use these gauntlets, fire alchemy with a pair of gloves, use alchemy to create items up to a certain point," Naruto said as he went to pick up the giant sickle. "This here is the most advanced thing have created up till now." "Hokage-sama," the Haruno woman called out, "we the council demand that the boy turns over that weapon over to Uchiha-sama. Only a shinobi of his caliber is worthy to wield such a weapon, and while H is at it, he should give up all his secrets to Uchiha-sama as well." "No," Naruto said. "That emo bastard doesn't deserve shit." "Don't you talk about Uchiha-sama like that, demon," Lily said with a hiss. Suddenly she found herself wrapped in a chain, which extended from Naruto's weapon. "I believe that Hokage-sama has a law that prevents everyone from revealing my former status in effect to present day," Naruto said coldly. "I'd watch my mouth if I were you, Haruno." "Naruto-kun is right, my law is still in effect even if the Kyuubi is no longer bound in Naruto," Sarutobi said. The pink head just shut up as she watched the Hokage tell the blonde to release her. Soon the chain loosened around her and Naruto rolled it up as he pulled it toward himself. Once it was rolled up, he clapped his hands and created some sort of holster that he placed the sickle in before tying it to his body. "Now that we explained what Naruto-kun is capable of, it's time for the clan heads to decide, should Naruto be a shinobi?" the old man asked the elder shinobi. "Hokage-sama, it would be unwise to not let the boy be ninja, so I say yes," Shibi said. "I say let the pup have the headband already," Sume said with a laugh. "I also agree with my fellow clan heads," Murakumo said. "Well, I think I speak for my friends when I vote yes," Inoichi said as his former teammates nodded in agreement. "Well, Hiashi?" asked the Sandemi. "Does it even matter what I say when there are already 6 votes in favor?" Hiashi responded. "Fine then," Sarutobi said, reaching into his robes and pulled out a headband. "Naruto-kun, congratulations. As of now you're a proud shinobi of the leaf." Naruto took the headband from the old man and immediately tied it on his upper left arm, which was also his automale arm. "Thanks," Naruto said. "Sarutobi, before anything else goes on, we have to decide whether the boy will be placed in the CRA, Danzo spoke up. "Yes, he does have a point," Omura said. "I still hold my vote in favor." "As do I," Koharu said. Sarutobi knew that he would dread this, but he had to still do the voting since it was law instated by his sensei. He turned to look at Naruto with a look that said that he would explain everything later. The blonde nodded his head as he knew that he would be told later. "Well then, what do the rest of you say?" the Hokage asked. "I vote that he should." Hiashi was the first one to speak. "In fact, I would be willing to write a betrothal between him and my daughters." "What are you planning, Hiashi?" Sarutobi asked himself mentally. Unknown to him, the others were also thinking the same thing. The Hyuga clan never married outside of their clan. "But, you forgot one thing," Hiashi continued. "When you first mentioned the bloodline, you told us he had some sort of ultimate shield. We've yet to see it." "We are also curious, Hiruzen," Koharu said. Naruto, the Sandemi, sighed as he knew that he had to have the boy reveal his best technique. Naruto also sighed in exasperation, shaking his head. He began to concentrate, Soon iron-like substance began to creep slowly around his face and then his clothes. It took a full minute to activate the shield. When the shield was complete, he looked some sort of creature with his pointy teeth and all. Hiashi, wanting to know if it really was strong, activated his Byakugan and move at top speed to appear before Naruto. Before anyone could stop him, the White Eye Man struck the blonde with a powerful Juken blow to Naruto's stomach. To his surprise and everyone else's, the blow didn't even scratch the skin of the Uzumaki. Hiashi, what is the meaning of this? The third asked. Nothing personal. I just wanted to see the extents of the boy's ultimate shield, the white-eyed man responded. This boy is a threat to the Hyuga clan if that skin of his can block such a powerful blow like it was nothing. Hiashi thought, I have make sure that he marries into my clan or he will spawn a powerful set of future shinobis. Damn, don't worry Gigi, that blow barely hurt, Naruto said. If he wanted to see a demonstration, all he had to do was ask for one. Okay Naruto, now let us hear what everyone is thinking, Hiruzen said. Hokage-sama, I speak for myself and friends that I think that we should allow Naruto to make his own choice regarding if he wants to marry more than one woman, Shikaku said. I agree with Shikaku-san, Murakumo said. As do I, Shibi said, understanding what his fellow clan heads were trying to do. I say we place him under the CRA, hell I'll even engage my daughter to him, Sume said. Well, it would seem that we have come to a decision, the third said with a smile. Naruto, I so wish you may marry more than one woman, and that's final. Hiashi gritted his teeth as his plan to get the boys Kekkei Genkai into his clan, but he still had his daughters. All he had to do was make a branch member teach them some seduction techniques and he will be his. Now Naruto, if you will follow me to my office, we need to have a small talk, the old man told Naruto as he grabbed the boy's shoulder and vanished in a swirl of leaves. Well, chapter 3 is finished. I didn't feel like writing Naruto's life at the academy, so I skipped all that. Also his weapon, I tried to describe it the best I could. All of you are wondering why I had Naruto use adamantine instead of making it himself. Well, that all will be explained the next chapter, so no flaming, and also why the ultimate shield takes so long to activate. Well, if you have any questions, leave a review or PM me. Also, I will be rewriting some parts for my Fairy Fox of Fairy Tales, so that will take a little while to update. Not only that, but I will also be rewording some of my Konoha's Dark Mage FIC so it can be better understood. To say more things, I will posting some more stories soon since I just can't get the ideas of my head, and I'm sure that some of you will like them. Final thing is the third story for my Left Behind series has been decided, and it will be a Naruto crossover with, find out after my small omake. Omake. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto stood up as most of the class looked at him. Uzumaki Naruto. I have many like and dislikes, dreams, well those are mine. All we learned was his name, thought everyone with a sweat drop. Somewhere else in Konoha, a silver-haired Anbu sneezed. Why do I feel like a little blonde boy just made me feel real happy, that I just want to go and ravish him. Back with Naruto, he felt a shiver go down his spine, and for some reason he wanted to seal inside an earth dome a silver hairman. Underground base at Otogakure, a pale skin man with yellow snake-like eyes, stopped working on one of his newest toys, experiments. For some reason I feel like killing a silver-haired Anbu who is trying to take something that belongs to me, he said. Oh well, I'll worry about that later, first I need to get some of my stress relieved. Oh, Kabuto-kun. The door to the room opened and a white-haired teen wearing a pair of round glasses walked in, closing the door behind him. You called Orochimaru-sama? He asked. Yes. I need some of my stress relieved, was the answer. Kabuto paled as he watched his master walk towards him. Oh shit, was the single thought he had. Naruto followed the old man for a few feet before he was grabbed by the shoulder by the said old man and both disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Seconds later, the two arrived at the Hokage's office where Sarutobi went to finish filling out a sheet of paper that was already sitting on top of the desk. Once he was done, he pushed the sheet toward Naruto to have him sign the forms so it could be filed away with his other schoolwork. Okay Naruto, now that we are done with this, I still need you to go and take your picture to submit with your official ninja documents. Sarutobi said, "Bring them in the morning, and don't forget that team selections is tomorrow. I will notify Haruka telling him that you passed." "Sure thing, old man," Naruto said, taking the paper that the old man was holding out to him. With a slight bow, the blonde left the office, heading out for a small celebration at Ichiraku's ramen bar before going to visit his friend Winry. Now that he was a ninja, he would be able to use that new outfit he created a few days ago just for when he became a ninja. It was only a 5-minute walk to the ramen stand, where he immediately ordered a large pork ramen and ate while making small talk with Ayami and her father. Both laughed when the blonde told him about the face that Hiashi made when he attacked him and not made a single scratch. He also went ahead and told them how he used his new Kekkei Genkai to create the massive sickle he had on his back. Renkanten, alchemic release, was the name given to his newfound powers. Chuchi, being the curious person he is, asked Naruto if he could show him this Kekkei Genkai of his. He was left looking like a fish out of water when the blonde clapped his hands and touched the empty bowl of ramen in front of him. In a flash of blue light with small bolts of blue lightning, the bowl transformed into a large silver pot. Chuchi had stars in his eyes at seeing the new pot before him. Before anyone said anything, the old man moved faster than one would think he was capable of and snatched the pot, then went to his kitchen. After the small fiasco in the ramen stand, Naruto said goodbye to his friends, saying that he needed to go and see Winry. Ayami made the joke about him wanting to go out and celebrate his recent graduation with his little girlfriend, thus leaving Naruto a blushing mess, while she laughed her ass off. While Naruto was going to see Winry, in another part of the village, a petite violet-haired, white-eyed girl was just arriving home from the academy. Hinata Hyuga was just walking into her family's compound, happy that she had passed the exam and became a genin. All that was left was to wait for the news of Naruto passing as well, then be placed in the same team so she would make him forget all about that blonde bimbo and make him all hers. Yes, she had it all planned out. Hinata-sama, she heard someone call her name. Hinata broke out of her daydream she was having of marrying Naruto to see who called her, and saw one of the branch members before her. "What is it?" Hinata asked. "Hiashi-sama wishes to see you in his office immediately," she responded. "Thank you. I will head over right away," the young kunoichi said as she began to walk in the direction of her father's study. Along the way she wondered what he wanted with her. The only times she saw him was either at breakfast or dinner. But she met with him when he was training her younger sister Hanabi, and that was only to berate her for being weaker than her. Sighing, she got ready to be yelled at. Soon she was standing in front of the office. Just as she was about to knock, the door opened and she was surprised to see that it was Hanabi who opened the door. Scowling, the younger girl moved away to allow her in. Once inside, she took a seat on the cushion next to Hanabi and waited for their father to say something. "Hinata," her father spoke. "What do you know of Uzumaki Naruto's Kekkei Genkai?" Hinata glanced at her father as if he had grown a second head and wondered what he was talking about. She had used her Byakugan a few times on the blonde, and not once had she seen enough chakra in his body other than the amount need to live. So how was it possible that he could have a Kekkei Genkai? They needed chakra to be activated. "No. I am afraid that I do not understand, Otu-sama. Naruto-kun never showed signs of a Kekkei Genkai in class ever. Now that I think about it, he always failed the ninjutsu and genjutsu part of class. He did show a great amount of skill in taijutsu, almost the same level as a low-level jonin," Hinata said to her father. "His chakra reserves show only enough to live. So I was never aware of something like that." Hiashi listened to her daughter tell him about the boy that interested him so much. He also managed to difference in her voice when she said his name. His plan of how to seduce the boy would be much easier now. All he had to do was have one of the female branch members teach her some seduction techniques. He then glanced over at his youngest daughter and saw her looking intently at Hinata as well. She may be only 11 years old, but he needed her in case the older one failed. "I see. Well, let me tell you then. Today all the clan heads were called by the Hokage to report to the private training grounds where the Hokage himself administered the exam on Uzumaki-san. He was quite strong in taijutsu, but the surprise came when he showed his bloodline. He calls it Renkanten," Hiashi said. "Renkanten? Alchemic release? What does it do, father?" asked Hanabi, speaking up for the first time. From what I saw today, it is a very dangerous ability. He is able to create virtually anything out any material. He or she gave a short explanation, getting straight to the point. He created a powerful sickle out of materials bought by Hokage-sama. He is also able to create a type of shield around his skin that is nearly impenetrable. I used a powerful palm strike on him and he didn't even feel it at all. Hanabi looked like a fish out of water. A Juken palm strike at full force is something that would kill anyone. For someone to have a way to block it would mean that he or she would render all of their techniques useless. The reason I am telling the two of you this is because the boy was not officially placed in the CIA. However, he is allowed to take more than one wife. I want the two of you to seduce the boy and have him marry you, or at the very least carry his seed, he or she said. Carry his seed? Hanabi repeated, a little confused. Get pregnant Hanabi, Hinata said. But isn't Hanabi a little too young for him? She is only 3 years younger, so I expect her to wait and plan out how she is going to approach him. You on the other hand are old enough to conceive, their father said. The two of you will be joining Irie during the nights to learn seduction techniques. Neither said anything, they only gasped. Their father wanted them to learn the art of seduction in order for them to get Naruto. Now they knew why he talked about him. Not only that, but he wanted him. No, he wanted Naruto's Kekkei Genkai. With it, the Hyuga clan would grow to become the strongest in the village since the Uchiha clan. I understand, father, said Hanabi, bowing to her father. Hinata, I have petitioned to the Hokage to place you along with Uzumaki-san in the same team. That way you will have a higher chance in seducing him. Hiashi informed her. The two of you are free to go now. Both girls bowed to their father before standing up and leaving the room. Hinata couldn't believe what her father had just told them to do. Basically, she could chase after Naruto and the clan could not do anything about it. Her attention then turned over to her younger sister, whose face was stoic. She knew that look. It was the look of a person on a mission. She might only be 11 years old, but she would do whatever it took to please their father in order to remain on his good graces. She only hoped that she wouldn't fail. Even if she did, when she did get Naruto to love her, she would most likely have to share him with Hanabi no matter what. It was late in at night when Naruto finally exited Winry's house. He had a really good time talking with his best friend. He had told her in detail everything that had happened in the exam and how they had reacted when he only showed him a fraction of his power. The girl had congratulated him with a kiss to the cheek which left both of them blushing. One for having worked the courage to do what she had wanted to do for a while, Naruto for being caught off guard, the fact that it had been a really pretty girl who had kissed him even though it was on his cheek. What neither noticed was the third person listening behind the door grinning while saying in a low voice about little blonde-haired boys and girls running around her house. Now Naruto was walking peacefully when all of a sudden he heard commotion all around him. As he looked up on the roof, he saw Chunin, Jonin, and Anbu rank shinobi running looking for something or someone. Using the skills he had made while being a prankster, he got close to them just enough to listen to the conversation. From what he could hear from them, someone had broken into the Hokage Tower and stolen the famous Forbidden Scroll. However, what shocked him the most was that it had been none other than his former sensei Mizuki. He began to wonder as to what reason would Mizuki have for stealing the Forbidden Scroll. More importantly, what were his reasons for betraying his home village? He had to find out. But first he would need to find the man, and he could be anywhere. But there was one place that he knew that the traitor may go to. With his destination in mind, Naruto took off to try and cut him off. Mizuki 2G had finally done it. He had stolen the famous Forbidden Scroll. Now all he had to do was learn as much as he could from it before taking to his master. Now he was free from those insufferable brats and that bastard Iruka. And best of all, once he got stronger he would come back and kill the Kyuubi brat. Just thinking about him pissed him off even more. He had ruined his master plans of having him steal the scroll for him and then kill him. Not only had he gotten stronger and smarter, but apparently he also awoke a dormant Kekkei Genkai, though it was still a rumor as no one had seen it yet. Looking down at the scroll laying in front of him, a wicked smirk grew on his face as he bent down and pulled it open. The first jutsu that he came across was the Kage Bushin no Jutsu. a B-ranked kinjutsu that creates solid clones of the user and the advanced form of the Bushin no Jutsu. With this jutsu he would be able to defeat his opponents twice as fast. He started to read the instructions that were written on how to produce a clone. As soon as he finished reading the instructions, Mizuki began to go through the hand signs. On his first try nothing happened except for his chakra being drained. It was only after he took a break after trying to do the jutsu for the 10th time that he finally managed to create a single clone. This had him grinning. Mizuki rolled up the scroll to get it ready for transport. If he left at this time, he would be out of Fire Country by the morning and soon the scroll would be in his master's hands. Just as he was about to start running, he sensed something approaching him. From the corner of his eye he saw something that looked like a spear heading straight for his head. Luckily for him he saw it just in time to get out the way of its trajectory. The spear hit the tree in front of him. The blade went in about 6 inches into the trunk. He took a closer look at the spear. It was a type that he never seen before. The blade was about 1.5 feet long and was encircled with what seemed to be a dragon. "Damn, I missed," said a familiar voice that made Mizuki grin like he'd won the lottery. Turning his head around, Mizuki saw the one person he had hoped to see before he left this pathetic village, Naruto. "So it was the little demon who found me," he said, reaching for one of the large shurikens strapped to his back. "I can't believe my luck." Naruto didn't react to his comment as he knew all about his former flurry problem. "Would it too much trouble if I asked you to give me the scroll and surrender peacefully?" Naruto asked, taking a step forward. "As if, demon brat," Mizuki said, throwing one of his shuriken at the blonde. The white-haired man smiled as he saw the throwing star was about to hit the demon, and he was too scared to move. Though just as it was about to hit, a wall of earth shot from the ground, stopping the shuriken in its track. Mizuki growled at the sight of the wall and wondered how the hell the brat such a jutsu and could do it without hand signs. It must have been the Kyuubi. "So finally showing your true colors, aren't you, Kyuubi?" he said with a smirk, which fell as soon as he saw no reaction out of the brat. "Is that all you have to say? You know that all those are old news. I've known of the Kyuubi for a while now. Also, here is a new piece of information. The Kyuubi is long gone," Naruto said with his own smirk at the shocked look on the face of Mizuki's. "Yeah, right. Once a demon, always a demon," the man shouted as he reached for the second shuriken on his back. However, Naruto quickly put on one of his gauntlets and punched the wall in front of him. There was a flash of blue lightning as a small part of the wall erupted, sending a projectile at a high speed. Said projectile hit the man's palm, embedding it into the tree behind him. Mizuki was too stunned to react at all that he didn't see the next set of projectiles coming at him until it was too late. He was struck in his other hand, which was stuck to a wall of stone that rose from the ground. Next, Mizuki was hit on both feet. When the former sensei finally managed to react, the first thing that he did was scream as he finally saw what had been hit with. There were 4 sayas. "Well, that should hold you until the Anbu get here," Naruto said, clapping his hands together followed by slamming them on the ground. Mizuki watched as a small cylinder container came out of the ground and into the blonde's hand. Naruto, using all his strength, threw it high into the night sky where it exploded into a ball of light. Meanwhile, back in the village, the Anbu, who were in search of the traitor Mizuki, saw a giant flash of light in the middle of the forested area that anyone rarely went in. A purple-haired cat-masked Anbu saw the light and ordered her team to head in that direction. When the team arrived at the area, they were speechless at the sight before them. The traitor was literally crucified to a tree and a wall of stone by what seemed to be sayas. On the other side sat Naruto Uzumaki on a stone chair with the forbidden scroll at his feet. "Uzumaki-san, what happened here?" asked the cat-masked Kunoichi. "I heard that Mizuki's sensei had stolen something that belonged to the old man. So I came to find him and retrieve said object. He would hand it to me peacefully and he attacked me," Naruto said. "To make a long story short, I fought back and incapacitated him." "I see. Well, take it from here then. I'll tell Hokage-sama what happened and you can see him in the morning," the Kunoichi moving towards the traitor. Naruto stood up to leave, when he remembered something. Turning his head, he saw the Anbu inspecting the weapons head used. A mischievous smile formed on his face at the sight. With a quick snap of his fingers, the sais and the stone walls crumbled back into dirt, stunning the ANBU. The following morning, Naruto stood in front of the Hokage, who was just finalizing his shinobi application by stamping it. With that finished, the old man then reached into one of the drawers on his desk and pulled out a white envelope. "Now then, my Anbu told me that you participated in the capture of Mizuki last night and that it was you who caught him," the old man said. "Yep. Although your Anbu sure took their time getting there. Mizuki team wouldn't shut up, so I had to knock him out until they arrived," Naruto responded. "Yes, well, this here is the payment for completing a B-rank mission." Sarutobi pushed the white envelope in his direction. Naruto took the payment with a smile, as he now had enough money to go and eat at Inchiraku Ramen. When he remembered something else, he sadly placed the money into his pocket, knowing that there would be no ramen tonight. "Thanks, old man," Naruto said. "No problem, Naruto. I think it's time for you to go to class and be placed into your new team." Sarutobi sent Naruto on his way. Later that morning, Naruto walked into his classroom, only to find it empty except for Iruka, who was going through some papers. The man heard the door opened, and when he looked up he was surprised to see Naruto walk in, though his attention was drawn instantly to the giant sickle on his back. "You're early, Naruto," Iruka said. "I wish you were this exited during the school year." "Morning, Iruka-sensei." Naruto greeted his former sensei. As Naruto went over and took a seat on the top row next to the window. He watched as Iruka went back to his work, however. He could tell that the man was hurting with the betrayal of his best friend. It wasn't long until the room began to fill up with the rest of the students. At first only the one to come, it was the civilian kids. Soon the clan heirs began arriving. First was the ever mysterious and stoic Aburame heir, Shino. Following him was the loud and brash Inuzuka heir, Kiba, and his pet mutt Akamaru. More civilian students arrived. Soon came two more clan heirs at the same time, the drowsy Shikamaru Nara, heir of the Nara clan, and the ever-hungry Choji Akamichi, heir of the Akamichi clan. After 5 minutes, the king of emos finally arrived. Sasuke Uchiha, the last of the Uchiha clan, as he passed to his seat. Naruto saw all the girls' eyes become hearts. Shaking his head, he turned to look out the window, when the ground began to tremble. Minutes later, the door slammed open only for a pair of girls to fall in, a blonde and a pink head. These are Ino Yamanaka, heiress to the Yamanaka clan, and Sakura Haruno, daughter of a civilian. The two then began to fighting over who was going to sit next to their Sasuke-kun. The fighting stopped when the final student and clan child arrived. The entire class gasped at the sight of the blue-haired, lavender-eyed girl standing at the doorway. The boy's jaw dropped to the ground. Meanwhile, the girls reacted by grabbing their developing breast as they saw that the girl in the doorway had at least high B cups, low C cups. At the door stood Hinata Hyuga, the heiress of the Hyuga clan. She wore a sleeveless tight dark blue shirt that tied around her neck, her arms wrapped in white bandages. Along with a knee-length black skirt underneath her, wore black leg stockings and knee-length boots. Her headband was around her neck. "What the hell? Is that Hinata? She looks like one of those women I see in the red light district, only wearing kunoichi clothing," thought Naruto before looking away disinterested. "Holy shit. Hinata looks so fucking hot, and look at the size of those tits." One horny mutt was thinking as he licked his lips as he checked out the girl. "Damn, I just want to go over there and rip those clothes off of her. Damn that little Hyuga slut. Shusha's trying to steal my Sasuke-kun." One pink-haired banshee though as she tried to send her killing intent at the girl. Where the hell was she hiding those puppies? Ino questioned herself as she looked directly at the girl's chest. Troublesome, Shikamaru thought before going back to sleep. Barbecue, thought the F.A. big-boned ninja as he ate his chips. Thought the stoic Shino, I will kill Itachi with the penetrator that father gave. Thought the Avenger as he imagined using his sword on Itachi without paying attention to Hinata. Hinata was well aware of the looks she was getting from her classmates as she began to walk to take the empty seat next to Naruto. She had changed her wardrobe after Irie told her that her clothes were too baggy and showed off none of the Hyuga traits. After hours of convincing, the girl finally cracked and allowed the older Hyuga to help her find new clothes. As she neared her crush, she became aware of something important. He wasn't paying attention to her at all. She felt something strange deep down. She wondered why Naruto wasn't paying her attention. Was she too revealing? No, that couldn't be it. Then it must be that blonde bimbo she seen him around with. If she wanted her man, then she had to get rid of the competition. Ohio Naruto-kun, greeted Hinata, managing to avoid stuttering and blushing in front of him. Ohio, responded Naruto without looking at her, making her frown. Hinata sat down next to him without even asking if the seat was free and looked at their teacher as he began to tell them how proud he was of each of them. He went on about how they would be entering the real world of a shinobi now and that he expected each of them to grow stronger and follow the will of fire. Then he pulled out a sheet of paper and explained that they would be placed in a 3-man cell team. Different reactions went through the heads of the new Genins. Some were mad that they would be separated from their friends, others were thinking on who they wanted on their team and how to best use them to their advantage. Iruka then began to call out the teams. Team 7, Iruka called out, will be Sakura Haruno, Naruto Uzumaki. Why me? Shouted Sakura as soon as she heard that she was on the same team as the loser. I am not thrilled about this is either. Naruto mumbled out loud. Sakura sent a dirty look his way which he waved off. And Sasuke Uchiha, finished Iruka. Hell yeah. The pink-haired BITC girl shouted, returning to her original self. True love conquers all. Take that Ino pig. Quiet. Now Team 8, Iruka continued, Shino Aburame, Hinata Hyuga, and Kiba Inuzuka. Fuck yeah. I get Hinata on my team. Now I have a chance to make her my bitch, Kiba thought with a smirk on his face. Then another thought came to mind, at any fucking cost. Interesting thought, Shino. I was sure that I would be placed along with Naruto-san with his grades along with Hinata. Damn, why could I have been with Naruto Koi? His grades are better than the mutts, Hinata said. Why didn't fathers petition G through? Team 9 is still in circulation. Team 10 will be Ino Yamanaka, Choji Akamichi, and Shikamaru Nara. Iruka finally finished calling out the teams. Your senseis will pick you all up after lunch. Iruka left the classroom at this point while everyone else went to find their teammates to drag them off to get to know each other better. Hinata was about to talk to Naruto when Kiba came up to her. Hey Hinata-chan, why don't we go somewhere else and get to know each other better? Kiba said, wiggling his eyebrows. No thanks Kiba, I got better things to do, Hinata said as she turned to where the blondes sat only to find the seat empty and the window open. She gritted her teeth at the lost chance to try and get her claws into her crush. An hour later, don't feel like saying what happened during the lunch. After returning from lunch, the new Genins were sitting around waiting for their teachers to arrive and take them away. Naruto watched as the classroom got emptier every 10 minutes, but that was the least of his worries. What worried him the most was the way that the Hyuga clan heiress was acting towards him. For the time he had known her, not once had she acted this way. She was always so shy and would often blush when he talked to her, something that he found extremely cute. Now all of that was gone overnight, as if she has been hiding this dark side of hers. It's always the quiet ones, Naruto thought. Damn it. Why won't he respond to my advances? I'm doing all of what Irie-san told me to do, the Hyuga thought. Just then the door opened once again and a raven-haired beauty walked in. She wore something strange get up in the colors red and white. Team 8 come with me, she called out, and Team 10 with me, a gruff voice said from the doorway. Standing there was a man with black hair and eyes. He had a cigarette in his mouth, and he wore the standard Jonin uniform. The members of both teams stood up and began to leave the room with their teachers. Naruto watched as Hinata stood up and walked away swaying her hips more than needed. It's official, that girl has lost it completely, Naruto thought with a sweat drop. It wasn't until 3 hours later that the ranting that Sakura was going on about stopped as soon as the door once again opened. This time it was a man with gravity-defying silver hair, his headband covered his left eye. He wore the Jonin uniform like Team 10's Jonin. In the man's hand was an orange cover book. Yo, he said. Why oh you are late? Shouted the pink-haired bitch. My first impression on you? I hate you. he said, ignoring the shouting girl. "Meet on the roof in 5." Without another word the man disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Damn it. I should have known it was going to be that guy since no respectable jonin is 3 hours late. Naruto ranted. Why couldn't it have been someone cool like Guy-sensei? Sakura and Sasuke wondered who this guy person was and why Naruto was acting so strange. Shrugging, they followed their blonde teammate to meet their sensei on the roof. It took them the whole 5 minutes to reach the roof, where the silver-haired jonin leaned on the rail reading his book and giggling like a girl. "Oh, you're finally here? Good. Now sit down in front of me," he said, putting the book away, and waited for the genin to sit down. "Okay, now I want each of you to introduce yourselves. Tell me things like your likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams for the future." "Sensei," Sakura called out, raising her hand. "Yes?" he asked. "Could you go first so we know how to do it?" she said. "And Shusha's supposed to be the kunoichi of the year." All three males, though, simultaneously. Kakashi looked over at the blonde before shrugging. "Sure, I don't see why not. Let's see. My name is Hitaki Kakashi. My likes, I don't feel like telling you that. Dislikes are none of your business. Dreams for the future, well, I have lots of hobbies. You're up, Pinky." All we learn was his name, the genin thought. Sakura scowled at being called Pinky, but answered anyways. "My name Haruno Sakura. What I like, I mean the person I like is." She looked over at Sasuke and blushed. "My hobbies are." She looked over at Sasuke, blushed and giggled. "And my dream for the future." She looked over at Sasuke, blushed, squealed and got a slight nosebleed. Kakashi and Naruto both sweat dropped. Sasuke was too busy brooding to sweat drop. "This is great. I've got a perverted fangirl." Kakashi sighed to himself. "Is there anything you don't like?" he asked. "Naruto Barker and Ino Pig," she shouted. "The feeling is mutual," whispered Naruto. Only Kakashi was able to hear him. "Emo boy, you're up," the man said. "My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I have no likes and many dislikes, and what I have is not a dream but something I will make a reality, that is to kill a certain someone." Sasuke said. "I will kill him with my penetrator." "I should have seen that coming," Kakashi thought. And now we move on to blonde. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like ramen, pranks, Winry-chan, and training with Guy-sensei," Naruto said. "Wait. How does he know Guy? Oh God, don't tell me this is my divine punishment for being late all the time. Just please don't start spouting with the flames of youth," Kakashi thought. "I dislike the 3 minutes it takes to cook ramen, Winry-chan's wrench-kun as she calls it," continued the blonde. "And my dream for the future is to follow Guy-sensei's footsteps and become the village's next taijutsu expert, and to show all those bastards that you don't need ninjutsu or genjutsu to be a shinobi." "Good," he said out loud, keeping his lazy expression and not letting a hint of his thoughts betray him. "You've all got your own opinions and you're all unique." He nodded to himself. "Now tomorrow we will have our first mission as a team." "What kind of mission?" asked Sakura. Kakashi spoke in a lazy voice. "Our task will involve just the 4 of us, a survival exercise." Kakashi looked over at the different reactions. Most of it was surprise, however. Naruto had narrowed his eyes as he looked at Kakashi with a thoughtful frown. Now that surprised Kakashi. "A survival exercise?" Sakura questioned. "But we already took those back in the academy." "This isn't going to be some simple exercise. This is nothing like your training at the academy," Kakashi stated with a smirk. Not that his soon-to-be students could see it. Or not. It all depends on if they pass the test. Naruto's frown deepened. There was something going on here. Then what kind of training is it? Kakashi began to chuckle, causing the 3 students to give him odd looks ranging from confusion to consternation. "Hey, that was a normal question, sensei. What's so funny?" asked Sakura. "Well, if I told you, you'd chicken out," Kakashi said, laughing some more. Naruto glared at the man fiercely. "Just try us." "Oh, don't worry, Naruto, I will." Kakashi laughed. Before shifting his personality to be more serious, of the 27 graduates that made it this far, only 9 will actually be accepted as genin. The other 18 will be weeded out and sent back to the academy. In other words, This is a make it or break it pass-fail test, with the chances of passing being at least 66%. Sakura's eyes widened in shock as she began to worry about what her sensei was saying, wondering whether or not she would be able to pass and still remain with her Sasuke-kun. The Uchiha on the other hand looked irate at having to do another test, especially with 2 other people who would only slow him down. "But we already graduated," Sakura shouted. "That's not fair. Then what was that test we took at the academy all about?" "Oh that?" Kakashi shrugged dismissively. "That was simply to weed out the hopeless cases. The ones that pass that test are the ones who have the potential to become Genin. I'm the one who gets to decide whether you 3 pass or fail. Be at Training Ground 7 at 7 a.m. Bring all your gear and weapons." Kakashi paused for a moment before giving him the clincher, "And I would suggest not eating breakfast tomorrow morning." "Why is that?" asked Sakura. "Because you'll just throw it up." Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke, leaving a pale Sakura, a brooding Sasuke, and a contemplative Naruto. "Thanks."